Hi, how's it going? I'm Jon Maclennan. Thank you so much for checking out this ukulele DVD. We're going to jump right in and start from the ground up, showing you how to hold the ukulele, how to strum, and get going on some basic songs. Before we get started, we need to be familiar with the basic parts of the ukulele. If we start at the top, we have the head, or the headstock, and attached to that are the tuners. And each string has its own tuner, and you adjust the pitch by turning the tuner. If we move down here, we have the nut, this bone or plastic piece right here, and then the fingerboard. Behind that is the neck, this whole section here. This is the body. These are the strings. And then a very important part is the frets. These metal things going down here are the frets. This would be the first one, the second one, the third one, and we go up from there. The strings go down and mount into this part, which is called the bridge. And then this area here is the sound hole. And the sound of the strings goes into the body and resonates and comes out kind of like it just amplifies it like a speaker. And that's where you get the beautiful sound of the uke. Then of course we have the back, and some have straps here, but most of the time traditionally you just hold the ukulele right under your arm here. So just to get us started, I'm going to show you a very simple exercise here. It's called 1, 2, 3, 4. And with your left hand, the fingers here, this is your first finger, then your second finger, your third finger, and your pinky is your fourth finger. You don't count the thumb, because that stays back here about the center of the neck, generally. And that's where you squeeze, you push against that to get the pressure to engage a string and get a note to sound. So as you get started in playing some of these, you might have to develop your calluses, which is just sort of on the tips of your fingers. They toughen up, and it's all part of the journey here. So let's begin on this little exercise here. We're going to start by playing on the first fret, and we're going to use our first finger. Play that note. And then you're going to put your second finger on the second fret. So we've gone from 1 to 2. And realize once I play this note, I don't have to hold down my first finger anymore. So you can only play one note per string. After that, we're going to add the third finger and then the pinky. So this is how the uke lays out. You generally will play one finger per fret. So if you start from the beginning with good technique, you're just lining your fingers up like this. So let's try it together. Ready? Play. 1. Okay? Then you're going to move to the next string. So we've shifted here, and we're going to play the same exact thing. Now remember, if your notes sound kind of buzzy like this, you've got to check yourself for a few things. One, when we play a note, for instance, if I'm playing this note here on the first fret, I want to get as close to, remember I said the metal thing is the fret, I want to get as close to that as I can. If I play on it, I get a muted sound. So I just want to get right before it. If I'm back here by the nut, then it sounds buzzy, not so good. So right from the beginning, let's start off thinking, okay, how can I get the best sound? I want to make my default being every note right up close next to the fret. So continuing this exercise of 1, 2, 3, 4, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Move to the next string. And the next string, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now just with my right hand, I'm just using my thumb and I'm plucking each string. So let's try all of the strings together, a little bit slower tempo. Ready, play. Nice and even. Now remember, this is just teaching us to use all our fingers. We don't want to be scooting with one finger like this. You want to set yourself up so you don't have to move your hand, like changing your hand ometer. Notice when I play here, I can just, it's like everything's at my fingertips. If I do one finger, it's like I'm jumping around and I have to do more movement, and that, ideally we want to move as little as possible. Now you can add variations to this. Instead of just playing 1, 2, 3, 4, you can do any combination of those numbers. So for instance, 1, 3, 2, 4, or you could even go backwards, 4, 3, 2, 1. Try writing down some of your own and practicing them. This is a great way just to get started and getting your fingers moving. So we're going to try one more. We're going to play 1, 3, 2, 4. Here we go. 1, 3, 2, 4. Next string. Doing the same exact thing as we did before. When we're done with the string, we just move to the next. Again, 1, 3. Second string here, and then the last string. Now ideally I want to hold down each note for its longest value. So I don't want what's called staccato, which is short and disconnected. I want legato, which means this note is staying, holding that note down, and it's a perfect synchronization of me plucking with the right hand and then the first finger going to the third finger, and right when it pushes down on the string to the fret, I'm plucking. So again, when you're getting started, what we're working on, and all throughout your playing, you're working on synchronizing your hands. Okay? One more time on that 1, 3, 2, 4. Here we go. 1, 3, 2, 4. Nice and legato, smooth and connected. Keeping everything right up close next to the frets. So there's a variety of ways that we can strum the ukulele, but I'll show you 2 ways right now just to get you up and running quickly. If we look at our left hand here, we're going to put our third finger on the first string of the 3rd fret. That's going to give us a C chord. Okay? I'm going to be using that in this example. So with the right hand, the first strumming technique I'll show you is using your thumb, and that's just brushing through the strings like this. Has a real nice warm sound to it. Okay? The second technique is going to use your first finger of your right hand, and I take my nail and I just use my nail as a pick. So I kind of turn my hand just slightly so I can really get a nice tone from my nail, and I'm strumming. See, the ukulele body comes here and it meets right where it meets the fretboard. The end here. So right where those come together, that's where I'm trying to strum. Okay? 1, 2, 3, 4. That just strums right across. And it has a little different sound. Notice this was warmer. And then. So later we're going to look at a bunch of examples that are in the style of famous chord progressions and strumming patterns and whatnot, and depending upon the example, you're going to have to choose whether you're using your thumb or you're using your first finger strumming like this. Generally, on faster tempos, I will use my first finger. But if I'm just playing a slower tempo, then a lot of times it's just sort of brushing with the thumb. So try this with me real quick, back to the C, and we're going to play for a few strums just using our thumb. Then we're going to try and switch to our first finger. And remember, when you strum with your first finger, you're just using that one finger. Don't get the other fingers in there for right now, just the one. Here we go. Starting with the thumb. 1, 2, ready, play. Now switch. Back to the thumb. And the first finger. So let's talk about some rhythms now. You have to be familiar with the basic rudiments of music. And remember, a rhythm or a note value is basically tells you how long to hold each note. Okay, so if we start on a C chord here, we're going to begin with whole notes, and a whole note gets 4 beats. Okay, so we're going to play this, and we're going to just count to 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. See, every 4 beats I'm strumming and I'm just letting it ring. Not playing 1, 2, 3, 4 on every beat, but I'm just strumming once, and then that note value is held for 4.